You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Fayetteville. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Good evening. We'd like to welcome all of you to the Monday, December 10th Fayetteville City Council meeting. At this time, we would ask that Rabbi Eve Eichenholz would join us at the podium. We ask that all would stand for the invocation. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
As earlier today, the Jewish faith and Jews around the world concluded the festival of Hanukkah, our festival of lights. Tonight, I use my language of my Jewish faith, my words for God in Hebrew, and I invite you all to hear these words through your own lens of faith and of hope. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu. May God, who blessed all of our ancestors, may it be your will that we bring light to those around us, that in these deepest days of winter, we find the spark of hope in each one of us, that our minds are enlightened to the opportunities and the possibilities of hope, that we come together, each of us, understanding that we are here for the common good of our city. We will work together. We will transfer light from one another in order to strengthen ourselves, to strengthen our community, and to strengthen our city. May it be God's will that we all take the light and warmth into ourselves and we share it with our entire community. And let us say, Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rabbi, we thank you for joining us this evening. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and your ministry?
I'd love to. I'm Rabbi Eve Eichenholz. I'm the rabbi at Beth Israel Congregation, right here on Morganton Road. It's the only synagogue in Fayetteville. And normally I will talk about the amazing things that we're doing at the synagogue, but I want to defer in this moment and say thank you. Thank you to you, Mayor Colvin, and the entire city. It wasn't a month ago that we stood here on a very different type of night, in vigil and in mourning, and it has been nonstop, the support that we've gotten as a Jewish community from our friends and neighbors in Fayetteville. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to thank each one of you, the leadership of our city and all of our citizens, for supporting the Jewish community, for celebrating our holidays with us, and for ensuring that we have a safe and a welcoming place to light our Chanukiah, to have these public celebrations, and to know that we are a part of the community with all of you. And so I want to, on this night, from my heart and from the hearts of all of my community members, say thank you to the entire city.
Thank you, ma'am. And council, at this time, I will defer to Councilmember Jensen. We have a special guest with us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I would like to introduce Markesia Davis, and Markesia is from Pine Forest High School. She is a senior. She is from the north side.
Ms. Davis, my church member, would like to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Markesia Davis, and we're very proud to say that FCYC is ending this year on a very amazing note. The Youth Council is looking forward to the next year, and we have so many things planned for the spring of 2019. And we just wanted to come to say thank you to all of you for all of the support that we've had over the year and the support that we'll have for spring. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. At this time, we would like to ask Ms. Deborah Mintz if you would meet Councilmember Hare and myself at the podium. That was a special recognition we'd like to give to you. Don't be nervous, Deborah. I got your back.
Thank you.
This evening, we'd like to do a special recognition for Mrs. Mintz. It's a plaque inscription states, "On behalf of the City of Fayetteville Mayor and Council, our city key and city coin are proudly presented to Deborah Mintz. In grateful recognition of your devoted interest and unwavering commitment to the City of Fayetteville, presented this 10th day of December, 2018.
Ms. Mintz, you got away without giving any remarks. Can we have you give us a couple of words? You've done so much for the city of Fayetteville, for this community. So,
you may regret this, but this is the most extraordinary city. I came here in my 20s thinking I would be here for just a couple years. I'm not going to tell you how long ago that was. It has been an honor and a privilege to work through the arts to make this city a stronger and better place to be, to work with many of you to make it a stronger and better place to be. The arts are a great partner with you, and I thank you for that recognition. And I think that when you look forward to my retirement, if there are other ways I can support our city, please let me know. Thank you so much for the honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
well, thank you, Ms. Mintz, and all that you've done and contributed to this community. All right, council, at this time we will get down to business. Item 5.0 is the approval of the agenda. I entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the agenda.
There's a motion by Councilmember Wright to approve the agenda. There's a second by Councilmember Hare. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for action. Madam Clerk, that is green and unanimous by all those present. We are absent one tonight. Councilmember Dawkins is traveling, so he will not be with us tonight, but item 9.0. And we also have our deputy clerk who is joining us tonight. Jennifer, thank you. Motion carries. Item 6.0 is the consent. Councilmember Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to pull 6.06, the joint Fayetteville State University Wellness Senior Center Memorandum of Understanding. I would like for staff to come and just explain that for our listening public.
All right, so any other items on consent that you would like to discuss any further, council? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve with the exception of item 6.06.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion by
Approval of the consent agenda with the exception of item 6.06.
Thank you. There's a motion by Councilmember Chris.
I second.
To approve. There's a second. Councilman Cullerton, did you have a, oh, you're voting early, huh? All right. All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Chris, second by Councilmember Waddell to approve with the exception of item 6.06. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for votes. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Motion carries. Item 6.06, Ms. Jensen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If Deputy City Manager Bauer could come up and just explain to what we're voting on.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. This is the same item we brought to the Parks, Rec, and Bond Committee recently. And this is a partnership between us and Fayetteville State University to develop a piece of property, about 10 acres, on the corner of Murkison Road and Filter Plant. And the partnership is to develop two projects on the site. One is our Senior Center East, and the other one is a wellness facility for students and faculty at Fayetteville State University. The partnership that we're putting forward tonight is basically an MOU focused on property acquisition and site development. So we've looked at the property, who owns it. Fayetteville State's foundation currently owns more property than the city does. So we've put together an equitable distribution of contribution of property between the two entities and defined who should go out and acquire the rest of the property. The way the process will work is that both parties will go out and acquire the rest of the property. The Fayetteville State would then donate all that property to the city to recombine into a single plot, and then we would divide it, and one plot would be the city's and one would be Fayetteville State's to develop. We'd work together jointly on developing common assets like parking, stormwater control measures, and things of that nature. The university has $5.5 million. We have $5.5 million. So before you tonight are a number of actions. One is the approval authorization of the city manager to execute the MOU to get us started. The second is adoption of a capital project ordinance to allocate the funding that was consistent with the financial plan adopted by council recently for park bond projects. The third is authorization to condemn those properties that may be problematic from a title perspective as we move forward. And this is all important because of the timeline that Fayetteville State is moving forward to try to fairly quickly accomplish this project. There will be a future zoning case that will also come forward to zone all this property consistently with the new actions of the new projects that are being proposed. So that's summary version. Certainly here to answer any questions you may have about the action.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bauer. I do have a couple before we go to Councilmember Hare. In this MOU, item F, under section B, I think it is, well, under section 2, so it's 3F, where it says the city shall reimburse the university for its share of invoices and expenses related to site prep, erosion, demolition, earthwork, etc. The council made a goal on Parks and Rec bonding as well as other procurement for local participation. The state regulates the university spending, but on the portion that they're handling those functions for us, the MOU does it not have any language that says what our goal, or even mentions that the city has a goal on its portion? How do you plan to stay consistent with council policy on that?
And we can certainly work with council to express the council's interest specifically to the university. I know that Mayor Colvin, you have a strong relationship with the chancellor, and certainly would encourage you to have that conversation with him. And we also will have some follow-on agreements that we'll be working on as part of this process to discuss things like future maintenance. So as we get into the more detailed agreements, we can certainly include that as part of that process. Site development, as we've allocated about $2 million of funding right now, 2.1 for the acquisition and then site development. Site development costs, not including design, is about estimated at somewhere in the area of below $3 million. So most of that money will be grading, asphalt, things that actually can be accomplished fairly regularly, I think, at that local level. So we'll be working hard to make sure that that's a possibility.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Harris and then Chris.
Thanks, Mayor. Just wanted to echo, I am so excited about another project, or this project, especially because it will be carrying the address of Murchison Road and being one of, just a strong advocate for our corridor. I mean, this is another excellent thumbs up for the corridor. So hopefully that will be printed tomorrow, that, this is another good item for our corridor. If you look over, Mr. Bauer, tell me or tell us how it ties in with the old, because we're speaking about filter plant, Murchison Road, Washington Drive corner. There's a few lots that go in on Washington Drive. But as it relates to the former Washington Drive Junior High School that I see here, just kind of tell us how that tie comes in.
The site that's proposed for these projects is 10 acres right on the corner, adjacent to Washington Drive. It doesn't cross Washington Drive, nor does it cross the street that is between this one and the old Washington Drive, the old Washington High School. So it doesn't involve that property that used to be the old Washington Drive High School.
So it doesn't go all the way back up to the old Washington Drive Junior High School? Okay.
It does not.
Yeah, because it was written here, that's, okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Chris.
Yes, Mr. Bauer, I heard your presentation. Appreciate all your efforts in this endeavor. I do want to point out to the citizens, especially those in District 2, this is another project for District 2, all right? And I point that out because I want to say that we're not playing ward politics up here on this council. We're putting these facilities where we think they're best located, and the projects that we're approving are for the betterment of the city as a whole. Now, here's my question, because I want to make it perfectly clear. The condemnation authorization resolution does not mean, am I correct, that we're going to jump out there and immediately go to court and try and take properties. But we're trying to save some time here in terms of those titles that may present some problems to us.
That's correct.
We're going to make every good faith effort to purchase these properties from the rightful owners. Is that correct?
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that point perfectly clear.
Councilman Cullerton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm excited about seeing this go in an area that really is going to be able to utilize it. And it happens to be in District 2, which is also nice. There's a lot of work to do throughout the city, as well as District 2. And Mr. Chris makes a good point on that. We need to look at the city as a whole and not as a ward political game. If there's no further discussion on this,
Yes, sir.
I would like to make a motion that we approve item 6.06, Joint Fayetteville State University Wellness Senior Center, Memorandum of Understanding Capital Project Ordinance 2019-22 for Senior Citizen Center East.
I'll second it.
All of us second.
All right. So show that this is a good project. Motion by Councilmember Cullerton, second by Councilmember Wright. Councilmember Wright, you had discussion on the motion?
Yes, I just had a question about the future growth of that area. If Christoph can come back briefly, because there's some discussion about the Martin Luther King Park
in that area. The overlay there in 7.7, where you see, on the seventh page, what we were looking at, how does that enhance what we're trying to do with the park? And we were talking about a trail, I guess, as part of the trail. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more of what's the vision of that area totally?
I'll do my best, sir. Well, certainly this is an area directly adjacent to the park
Right.
that has, that is a little rough and underdeveloped. And this certainly would take that and turn it into an amenity for the community and draw more awareness to the park and more activity adjacent to the park. We also do have funding for a trail that goes from the Masrick Park area to the downtown area. So that gives us an opportunity. That hasn't been designed yet. There certainly is an opportunity to bring that trail down Filter Plant Road to the Wellness and Senior Center, through the park area, and then into the downtown. So that's certainly part of the conversation. We will need to bring that back to council, of course, as part of that design process.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to let the residents know in the city that the vision of the council, when it may look like things are moving slow, long-range vision is to enhance that whole corridor coming into the downtown area, and that included the Martin Luther King Park and the trail as well. So thank you.
All right, guys, so this discussion phase of the motion that's on the floor pertaining to the wellness MOU between the City of Fayetteville and the University of Fayetteville State. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, look to you for your votes to approve. Councilman Dawkins, are you joining us?
Yes, sir. I'm on the phone. Yes, sir.
All right, there's a motion on the floor reference to approving the memorandum of understanding between the city and FSU for the Senior Wellness Center.
Green.
Green. Green. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous, including Councilman Dawkins Green. All right, motion carries. We'll look forward to that, continuing to move forward. Item 7.01, Planning Commission's Annual Report, FY 17 through 18. Pastor. Welcome, sir. You'd like to give your name? I know you, but.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. My name is Pastor Chris Davis, Senior Pastor at Force of Life International here at Fayetteville, 2415 Gary Street. I'm also a member of the Planning Commission for the City of Fayetteville, and I'm the present chair. And tonight I'll be giving our annual brief for fiscal year 2017-2018. Greetings to you all, and thanks for allowing us to come and give our activities for this year. The Planning Commission, of course, as you know, holds meetings and public hearings to make recommendations to the City Council. And here, as you see, it's the first slide for our presentation. So this year we had 8 public hearings. 5 public hearings were text amendments to the UDO. 2 of them were public hearings relative to neighborhood compatibility permits, and 1 was an alternative plan for signage at the Village at Sycamore Dairy office complex. The commission also received regular updates for the several presentations. One, the greater Haymount area, the other VA Center area in the western part of the city. And in generally, it is our intent to continue to work closely with the city council to make sure that we continue to grow the city the way we see it being done. There is a feeling of optimism that we haven't seen in a long time. And so the City Planning Commission remains constantly committed to supporting that action. We have some turnover. Some of our members have been on for a while, and we have 3 new members. And we will be holding elections next week for officers. And from there, we'll continue to do our job as a City Planning Commission. If there are no questions, we recommend that, along with the staff, that the City Council approves the receipt of this report for the fiscal year 2017, 2018.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to receive the report.
Yes, sir.
A second.
All right, so there's a motion by Councilmember Arp, second by Councilmember Waddell to receive the report. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I look to you for votes. Councilmember Dawkins, this is a motion to receive the report.
Green.
All right, Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Item 7.02, annual report from Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority. Ms. Driggers, how are you?
My name is actually Dawn Weeks now, so
Oh,
yeah, just thought I'd point that out. And
Congratulations.
My alias. Okay. I would like to point out, I have got a board member in the back, hiding back there, LeVar Wright. And so I just want to point out he's here. I think I've been up here at least with most of you before, but we actually provide affordable housing for the Fayetteville-Cumberland County area. We are a governmental entity. We have 8 board members that the mayor appoints, and we're governed by HUD, basically. We have 4 programs now going on: public housing, Section 8, VASH, which is Veterans Administration Supportive Housing, RAD, which is the newest one, which is Rental Assistance Demonstration Program. I'm not sure where that acronym came from, but it's one of those HUD things. I'll kind of give you a little history here for those that may not know. In 2009, you may remember we were awarded a Hope 6 grant. And during that, we demolished Campbell Terrace and Lonely Gardens on Old Women Road. We built back 542 units of housing over there. And just that has gone extremely well. Occupancy is always very, very good. It's just going great. Currently, you all may have gone down Grove Street lately and seen where Groveview Terrace was. The demolition on that site is completed, and if it ever quits raining, we'll get the site work started. But there we removed 212 dwelling units. Plan to build back 272 in that same area. I think that's going to be a really good enhancement for the Gateway of the city of Fayetteville. We have again partnered with United Developers here in Fayetteville. Again, right now demolition is completed, site work's underway, weather permitting, and hoping new construction will start in late February, early March. Any questions or not sure?
we do have a couple. So, did have a question, and I'm coming to Councilmember Chris after this. The hurricanes and the natural disasters kind of exposed the problem that we have in the city about affordable housing options. Has your agency received any reports as to how deficient we are in the city of Fayetteville for affordable housing? And if so, is there a plan? I know this is a project that will accommodate 250 families, I guess?
272, right.
272. Is there a plan? Does that help? I mean, I'm sure it helps, but how much of a need do we have for this in Fayetteville?
Well, and I don't have any numbers. I'm sure there's a great need. Basically, what we're permitted to do under this RAD program is just basically replace our housing. Okay. Just to let you know, Groveview Terrace was a World War II era site, so it was 70-plus years old. And we have others that are getting some age on them, too, that are in the 40s. So we're just trying to slowly work on getting some of these replaced. But as far as the need, I don't have numbers, but I'm sure it is.
So this is basically just upfitting what you have existing?
Right,
okay.
Right. That's what HUD is allowing us to do on that property.
All right. So, Councilmember Chris?
Ms. Dawn, Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing, VASH, 223 vouchers. What do those vouchers do? How do you meter them out? Explain that veteran support housing a little bit for us, please.
Well, basically, those are the vouchers that HUD strictly designates for veterans. We're basically a program administrator. The Veterans Administration here in Fayetteville, they really do all the case management. They select the clients, and then once they get them selected, then we assist at that point as far as paperwork and with them locating a unit. But basically, a lot of that is handled by the Veterans Administration here in Fayetteville.
So a veteran that needs housing would start with the VA, is that the process?
Exactly.
And then if the VA approves them as such, they would send them to you.
Right.
And you would issue the vouchers money? Do you help them find a place to rent, or?
That is what the VA also assists them in finding a place and locating it. Because, again, there's different family sizes, so they would assist with. But it's strictly for the veterans, which is unfortunate. If something happens to the veteran, then the family loses their assistance.
But the vouchers come from the federal government?
HUD, yes. They're just
you administer them for the VA veterans?
Right.
Or for the veterans that come through the VA, and the VA has to handle the program and certify them as being needy and all of that. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right, thank you. I just want people out there that are listening to understand there may be help available if they are veterans that came out on honorable discharges.
Yeah, I'm sure that's
Thank you.
All right, Councilman Wright.
Yes, how you doing, Mr. Triggers?
Hey, fine.
Great.
Right.
That's okay, I answer
Oh,
whatever.
okay, Don, I'm just calling you Don. We understand the importance of housing in our city. We've been impacted by Tier 2 becoming Tier 1 here in our region. Poverty is something that we are working with vigorously to impact our community in a positive way as well. P4P being one organization to do that. My question to you is, how do you prioritize homelessness or homeless people in your priority to house people? Can you explain that and kind of put us on the right track in our mindsets when you're dealing with homelessness and priority?
Well, basically, we deal with whoever applies first. There's
Okay.
so much need here. And I will tell you, there's, again, the two programs that we primarily operate, Section 8 and Public Housing. Public Housing, we take applications every 2 weeks. We probably have now close to 600 applicants. And Section 8, I've been here 28 years, and we've taken applications maybe 5 times.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, since I've been here in 28 years, we've taken applications for Section 8 probably 5 times.
Okay.
It's a very long waiting list, years of it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when somebody applies, it's not just limited to this area. Whoever gets on, you can come from wherever and apply if you're going to live here, which is unfortunate. But there's a big need that we're not able to meet.
So the need for affordable housing is greater than we are providing at this time. So how great would you think is a percentage? How well are we doing in that area?
Well, again, numbers I couldn't tell you. I can tell you our waiting lists are years. So even if you apply today, we don't have emergency housing. But if you apply today, it's going to take a long time to get in.
So there's still a greater need
Right.
for affordable housing.
And of course, right now we have Groveview offline, so that's 212 units less for the time being. And it'll take probably 18 months to put all that back and get it up and going again. once
So
it
in
starts.
your experience, what is your view of how providing public housing impacts those residents? What do you see the change in their lives as far as impact?
Well, certainly, public housing is permanent housing.
Permanent.
Permanent housing, and it's, of course, it's based on income, but it's a big benefit. We have a lot of college students that are going, that are in public housing now, and same with Section 8. So things that, again, what I see now in my 28 years is a lot more, I guess, again, desire to be educated, work, things like that like everybody else. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cullerton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you. I'm going to piggyback off of what the mayor and Councilman Wright had asked about the need, because this happens to fall in District 2, the new development in Groveview Terrace, the old. And as we all know, there's a great need. Cross Creek Point, is that the name of the new
Yes.
development, correct?
Yes.
That's replacing Groveview Terrace? And that's going to be public housing?
That's going to be affordable housing. It'll be a combination of tax credits and public housing.
Tax credit and public housing, okay. And it was 212 units, that was Groveview Terrace?
Right.
And we're increasing that number to around 60 units, multifamily units,
yes.
in the new Cross Creek Point. So that's good. And then we also had the additional, when we demoed the Groveview Terrace, many of those folks were moved to which housing?
Well, we actually relocated. Well, let me back up some. When Matthew hit, we had 119 families that were they were not displaced, but we already had issues with the units as it was. HUD allowed us to do something really unusual, which was relocate them before we ever closed on the project. So we relocated 103 families out of there, and we had 212 units. We just stopped leasing because of the condition of them. But we ended up finding a variety of things. Some got Section 8, some went to other public housing units, some moved back with family, just a variety. Whatever they wanted to do, we assisted them in getting there.
So then, with that said, we're going to remain potentially with a great need, but we're certainly addressing a big portion once this project's complete.
Yes.
And is the projection date of that completion in 2019?
No, it should start construction in early 2019.
Start in 2000. When is the projection
We're
completion date?
thinking about 18 months
18 months
to complete.
after that. Okay. Very good. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Wardell?
Thank you, Mayor Colvin. Ms. Weeks, couple of questions, but first a comment. This council is very focused on economic stability for individuals and families in the city of Fayetteville. And so we're doing a lot to encourage job creation and job growth. In terms of affordable housing, one of the things I think that's not just unique to the city of Fayetteville, but that is national, is that we have a lot of people who are in our public housing who may be able to transition out of that public housing, creating space for additional families if we provide the proper support. So my question would be, a couple of questions actually. You talked about how long the wait list is. If you know specifically what the wait list is for Section 8 and for public housing, right? And then does your organization have the ability to work with some of these other agencies to structure programs for people living in our public housing community that helps them to be able to create that shift towards upward economic mobility so that they can then have an option to live virtually anywhere that they decide and are not dependent upon the public housing or the Section 8 structure?
And my answer would be yes. The Housing Authority has a case management department. We help with, again, every individual has a different desire and a different goal, basically. But if it's education, then we try and assist with that. If it's employment, same thing with that. And to give an example, a part of the Groveview Terrace RAD program is Section 3. And I will say, of course, and so far it's just been some site work, the demo, which is more heavy equipment operation than anything. But we've managed to get 2 residents hired that were living in Groveview Terrace.
Let me stop you really quickly because I want to be very specific with my question.
All right.
Is there a requirement for people who are living in Section 8 housing or in income-based housing that there be some move toward a change in economic status via job training, education? Is there a built-in requirement in our public housing where that is something that you've got to do in order to be able to qualify for public housing, given you are able to do that?
In our regular public housing, no. Now, I will say in our Hope 6, there you get a preference if you're working or you're disabled or elderly. But that's the only one. Okay.
Good. Councilman Warner? All right. All right. So I wanted to piggyback on her question before I cleared the board and look for a motion. I know there's not a requirement. Is the Housing Authority open to working with agencies whose forte that is, like Connections or some skill training group that maybe could partner with you to utilize your, to encourage some of your residents in the public housing sector to transition out of the program? Because it looks to me as the pipeline is clogged. You have a year waiting list for Section 8. You have not enough public housing, so as you renovate them, that's going to take time, and so your need is going to continue to increase while you're doing that. So we've got to clear the log jam to get some of your people transitioned out. And I know on the federal level, that's a lot harder lift for HUD to make that a mandate. But incentives or local initiatives, would Housing Authority be inclined to sitting down with a group of people whose job it is to train and promote people to move from one situation to another? Is that something that you may be inclined to do?
Well, I would say we've been doing that for years.
Okay.
Again, that's something we have a department that does that. We reach out. We have a family self-sufficiency program. Whereas, those that get involved in that and they go through training and different self-sufficiency efforts, they can actually take a part of their rent money and we'll put it aside. That's been one good thing for home ownership. I will say when we did Hope 6, probably 20% of the houses that were built were sold to public housing residents that qualified.
Okay.
We're working, so, so we're always working toward, that's our goal. We're always working towards that.
All right, well, thank you. I didn't have any more questions, didn't see any more lights, so council will look to you for a motion.
Mr. Mayor.
To approve the report?
Oh, did you do it?
Second.
You all, it would be good if we go back to the light system when you have a motion, so, was there a motion, Mayor Pro Tem? All right, so there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem, was there a second? Councilmember Art?
I second it. Well, I'll
We'll
continue.
go back to the lighting, so we'll go, motion by Mayor Pro Tem, second by, Councilmember Art. Any discussion on the motion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. Based on what we were talking about with the program, Habitat for Humanity is doing a great project on Bunch Road with affordable housing. That program also has a built-in program for people to build themselves up for home ownership. Have you talked with Tammy from Habitat as well? I don't know if you guys partner.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, with Hope 6, primarily it was Habitat that we were able to get the residents housing as far as the single-family homes over in the Owen Road neighborhood.
Yes.
But absolutely, and that's a great program.
Yeah, absolutely.
A really good
and
stepping stone for those that,
The
looking to be
reason I
homeowners.
mention that because it's in District 7 right now, and I want to shout out for District 7.
All right.
And the
We
program is
we have a motion on
program
the
is
floor, guys,
outstanding.
so we
I
need
want
to
talk
stick
to you
to discussion pertaining to the motion that's on the floor to receive the
about it. Well,
report.
Mr. Mayor, that was a part of what I was talking
Once we
about.
veered off to
I'm sorry.
District 7, I got you.
Okay. But I wanted to make mention of that because I think it's important that it is a very good program, and that we definitely need to go forward with that in the future. No.
All right,
program.
Council, so any further discussion on the motion to receive the report by Ms. Dawn? All right, Council, I look to you for a vote.
It's a good
Councilmember Jensen and Hare? Okay. Councilmember Dawkins?
Green.
All right. Madam Clerk, that is unanimous. All right, thank you, Ms. Dawn.
Thank you.
Great work you're doing. All right. Item 8.0 is the public forum. This is a time that any Fayetteville resident may have input and a voice in what goes on in their city. Due to policy restrictions, the forum will not last longer than 30 minutes, and each speaker will be limited to only 3 minutes to address the City Council on issues related to the City of Fayetteville. Individuals wishing to speak on tonight's public forum should have signed up with the clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. If you are here to speak on items that may be on tonight's agenda under the public hearing, we ask that you reserve your comments until the public hearing. So when your name is called by the city clerk, we ask that you would come to the podium. Please clearly state your name and home address for the record. Then when you see the light located on the podium change from green to yellow, you have 30 seconds left to speak. When you see the red light come on, your time has expired. Again, due to policy restrictions, we are unable to extend the given time. With that being said, Madam Clerk, I ask you to call your first speaker.
Yes, sir. We have 2 speakers. Our first speaker is Miss Anna Chott.
Welcome, Ms. Chott.
Thank you. Good evening. Again, excuse me. My name is Anna Cott, and I'm the VP of Faith and Community Relations at Habitat for Humanity. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a cough. Would you like our address? My home address? Okay, our address is at 310 Green Street, just around the corner. And tonight, first of all, I'd like to thank the city for your partnership with us and for your support as we build affordable housing in the B Street neighborhood and off of Bunce Road. We were thrilled to hear that you have launched a millennial movement in Fayetteville, and I'm excited to let people know about 2 opportunities for millennials to combat poverty and unsafe housing. And these opportunities are Habitat Young Professionals and AmeriCorps. Before speaking about these opportunities, I'd like to take a moment to talk about Habitat for Humanity's mission. I know it was mentioned earlier, and our mission is to provide decent, affordable housing to those in need. And we do not give away houses. Our homeowners partner with us in many different ways. They pay a low-cost, interest-free mortgage. They have to meet HUD's low-income guidelines and have a need for safe housing. They also attend financial literacy classes, and they complete 300 hours of sweat equity. And we work closely with the city to fund our houses and host special events like Rock the Block, which is a neighborhood revitalization event. So Habitat Young Professionals, this first opportunity, is a group seeking to combat poverty by helping to build affordable housing for those in need. And we have Saturday build days where no construction skills are required. We also have professional development opportunities. And our next one will be a project management workshop on January 11th at our Habitat office, 310 Green Street, from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. So again, that's our next event. It's a project management workshop on January 11th at 8:30 at the Habitat for Humanity office. We also have a social networking event every month and a chapter-led fundraiser each year. And we believe that professional development and social networking is our way of helping to prepare our young professionals as they continue to give back to their community throughout their lives. Another opportunity we have, I have 30 seconds?
Yes, ma'am.
I have time. Another opportunity we have is AmeriCorps, which is a national year-long volunteer program. We're offering a position for a construction crew leader who supports Habitat by managing our volunteers on our build sites. This position provides a living allowance and an education award of close to $6,000. So in closing, anyone who is interested can email me at anna@fayettellenchabitat.org. Are there any questions?
This is just a public comment section.
Oh, okay.
But thank you, and thank you for attending the Millennial meeting the other day.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Mayor, our final speaker is Ms. Harmony Sell.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Okay, to start. Well, my name is Harmony. Our shop is at 3805 Rayford Road. I'm a taxi driver, and there's a few things that need to be addressed. We no longer have a taxi council. We barely have a taxi inspector. He's apparently having to deal with all the other duties that he has with the departments that he also works with other than the taxi. Our prior inspector, Mr. Wilson, was really great and always had time for us, and so does Mr. Morin. But I think we need more time to speak to one another and to our leaders about what's going on the streets, about the quality of our taxis, about the quality of our job in this city, everything. We don't have any way to express the major issues, or anywhere to express the major issues in any way to get them solved, the problem solved, and the opposite of problems, the things that are good to be excelled. But there's things like, I think anybody that sits behind the wheel of a taxi should have a permit. That includes a manager, a dispatcher, anybody that deals with taxis, period. The airport safety is horrible. They've relocated us to the other side of the airport, and we cannot see when our teammates have moved. There's vehicles that sit in front of us, and then the police just come and harass us, instead of trying to work with us. I don't even know what their names are. But there seems to be a need for more police there, because there's only maybe one at a time, and the traffic is very heavy. And the area that the taxis were parked at, there's regular, I guess, civilian vehicles that are parking there, and I don't know what they're doing. They just go and put their hazard lights on and leave their vehicle, and which is total opposite of what you're supposed to do at the airport. They try their best, considering that there's only one officer there usually at a time. Our insurance rates have gone up. Pretty much the taxi community has gone extinct or endangered. much like many animals in the world. Our insurance has gone up. Our rates of that the drivers are paying are going up. Our carbon monoxide levels are going up, which causes depression, which causes tiredness. The smelly trucks that are on the streets that are polluting our airborne quality or air is horrible. How come they're not having the same restrictions that we have to go under? And the point is that the more taxis and the more permits that you're going to have, the more money that the city is going to get from us. And that's what we need. The city needs more money.
Yes, ma'am, your time has expired. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
All right, but thank you.
Is there a way that anybody's going to respond to what I said?
Well, I was going to ask the manager about the inspector. I think that
Moran?
was something that you said, and possibly is the airport parking due to the construction that's taking place? Is that a temporary or permanent change? So those were two questions that I had for the staff, so I can meet you at the end of the day if you like. Because I can't extend your
a way
time.
for them to contact me or
Yes, ma'am. Just meet us
Mr.
at
Moran to contact?
meet us at the end of the dais here, and I'll step down and ask someone from staff to answer
Mr. Mayor,
those two questions. Yes, sir.
As our practice over the last couple of months, all speakers at the forum, the staff responds and refers their questions out. I believe the clerk's office spoke to Ms. Harmony today, and we were made aware of some of the concerns. Is that correct, Jennifer? And it is our plan to respond now that we've heard her comments fully, but it will.
Well, I know there was specific questions she had. I just had policy-related questions like parking at the airport, if that's related to construction, and if we've downsized the taxi inspector. So I'll look for those two answers for my just general knowledge, not related to her specifically. All right. Thank you. Someone from staff will get with you, Ms. Harmony. All right. Madam Clerk?
Mayor, we have no further speakers.
All right. This time we will close the public forum and move into public hearing. So individuals desiring to speak at the public hearing must have signed up to speak with the city clerk by name, address, before 7 p.m. this evening. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the issue at the public hearing. Individual speakers will be limited to 3 minutes each unless by a previous arrangement there's a single spokesperson that has been designated, in which case the spokesperson may use the entire 15 minutes. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium. Clearly state your name and address for the record. You may then address the city council. When the light changes from green to amber, you have 30 seconds remaining. At the end of your allotted time, the timer will ring. At this time, Mr. Harmon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, let me,
members of council.
go ahead.
This is a special use permit, so we will need to swear in any of the speakers before we get into the public hearing.
Mayor, we have one speaker for, Mr. George Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
This is a special use permit request for the construction of 3 commercial buildings in a existing neighborhood commercial zoning district. Some of the buildings may be above, have a single use of over 2,500 square feet, or the buildings themselves over 7,500, which is what prompts the special use permit in a neighborhood commercial district. The property is located at 8108 Cliffdale, a little over 2.5 acres of property. This is in District 8, and both staff and the Zoning Commission have recommended approval. Just to give you a little better view of the property we're looking at, it is the one highlighted in the middle of the map. Here to the west of that property is all commercial development. These long buildings here are mini storage, warehousing, and then you've got strip retail across here. This is an out parcel for Food Line Shopping Center. The Food Line is just off the map there to the south. So that kind of gives you a good feel for what we're looking at in this particular neighborhood. Zoning wise, again, it is zoned NC or neighborhood commercial. The property back here where the mini storage is a little heavier, limited commercial district. And most of that area throughout there is zoned neighborhood commercial as well. Our land use plan, though, for that area actually calls for heavy commercial throughout all these areas that you see in red, which our NC district is our lightest commercial district. Our land use plan actually calls for heavy commercial out there. And then you do see the neighborhood that adjoins this particular property as well. That's all single-family residential. Just a quick glance at their conceptual site plan, what they're looking to do on the property. They will have entrances off of both Cliffdale Road and Prestige Boulevard. Both of those will be this one will actually have a left in, right out, and then they'll have right in, right out on Cliffdale. The one on Prestige would be both. Just a couple of photos of the property. There already is some clearing being done on the site. Again, this property is already zoned commercially, so it's not a matter of will it be commercial property, it's more of how will it develop commercially. And then just a couple of photos there of the surrounding, the property here that's labeled north, that is their backyard is adjacent to this particular development. The city would require a type D buffer between that particular property and the this new commercial development, and that is the city's heaviest buffering zone. Then to the west, just a little glance at some of the existing, pre-existing commercial development, and then to the south is across Cliffdale Road is another single-family neighborhood. Again, Zoning Commission and staff do recommend approval of the special use permit. Feel that the proposed SUP implements policies adopted by the Unified Development Ordinance. The district of this type is generally near residential neighborhoods and often serves as a buffer or transition between these neighborhoods, and the city land use plan also calls for heavy commercial development on the property. The uses permitted by the proposed SUP and those standards will be appropriate in the immediate area of the land being reclassified. And that the proposed changes is in accordance with existing and proposed plans that the city already has in place. Are there any questions of staff before we open your public hearing?
Yes, sir, I did have one question. Councilmember Hare.
Mr. Harmon, I'm very supportive of thick buffering between commercial and residential. And that D, did you call it D buffering?
Type D.
Sir?
Yes, type D buffering.
Type D buffering. Give me the description of that and how wide of buffering that is.
There's
and
two.
what it
Right. There's two options for that. One is basically a 20-foot buffer with no fencing, but plantings in between, and they're fairly thick plantings. Or the option that most developers typically use is the other option, which is a 10-foot buffer, but also has a 6-foot privacy fence. And then they're required to have canopy trees every so many feet, along with shrubs and bushes and other plantings as well.
Okay. Now, where I have concern with that particular style, I mean, I like that. Well, let me ask you this. We have woods there now, right? Is it all cleared out?
Right now, it's basically clear.
Okay. Well, that brings me to my question of my concern that I always have the problems. Whenever we talk about putting in this buffering that's going to be between the commercial and the residential, and then we go and we clear cut the whole area out, and then we go back and say we're gonna put the plantings in that are gonna take forever to grow. I really don't understand why we can't change that. That's just a big issue with me, because we go in there, we clear cut it, then we go back and start to plant. So that's just my issue, that's my concern.
And as staff, we do encourage people to keep that, because those existing trees can count, obviously, toward the buffering that they're required to put in.
But is it a requirement?
It's not a requirement to keep those, it's a requirement to have a certain number of trees and plantings, but not
I really think we
how
need
to
to
do
relook
that.
at that, because to me, that buffering is not really worth much when we clear cut it and then go back and plant trees that take 25, 30 years or even longer to grow. But thank you, Mayor.
All right, Councilman Culleton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I just wanted to extend some of the conversation that Councilman Hare is on. We look at that aerial map where now we know that it's been clear cut. Is the de-buffering congruent with the rest of the buffering that's along that whole section between the house, the residences, and
The de-buffering would be required here along the back edge of the property.
Is it congruent with the rest of that line going through there
Yes.
to the left? That's all
it-
de-buffering as well?
That is a little older, so it's a little different. I'm not sure exactly. That was put in by the mini storage, and that was their own basic. That was actually put in before the UDO was in place. It will be a similar, but I can't guarantee that it would be the same.
Is there any reference to the density of those new trees, shrubs, plants, bushes that are put in as a buffering?
There are, the UDO, that type D has a set of standards as far as for ever how many linear feet, it prescribes a certain number of canopy trees, a certain number of understory trees, a certain number of bushes, and so those are all set out in the UDO.
Okay, and last question, what is the strongest buffering category, D, or is there?
D is the strongest one.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Okay. All right, Mr. Harmon, we will open this public hearing, and that will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, can you call your first speaker?
Mr. Mayor, we have one speaker for Mr. George Rose.
Good evening. George Rose, 1206 Longleaf Drive here in Fayetteville. I'm the site engineer for the project, and I don't have a lot specifically to add to Craig's presentation. I will address Mr. Hare's comments about the buffer. The trees that were there along that line were predominantly thin, tall pines, so that if you imagine the canopy of those trees was extremely tall, so not providing any essentially sound or sight buffering at the eye level or fence level. The type D buffer, as Craig said, is the most dense buffer that the UDO has, and the trees that we will be planting would be lower in terms of where their canopy is located, and then there would be a heavy dispersion of shrubs along that line behind the solid wood fence. The fact that we're adjacent to that Montebello subdivision and no one from the subdivision has come tonight to speak against us tells me that they aren't opposed to the development. I think it does meet the spirit of a neighborhood commercial. There are 3 buildings proposed. One of them is larger than the 7,500 square foot threshold, but they would be, the buildings are architecturally pleasing. A lot of thought's been put into that design, and then the type of tenants they'll have, I think, would enhance the general commercial area out in that area. So be glad to answer any other specific questions you might have.
Yeah, I do have a question, and then I'll go to Mayor Pro Tem. So, Mr. Rose, Cliffdale Road has been a concern with the amount of traffic, amount of accidents, fatalities, so forth. So much so they've asked the chief to pull a report and to get some plan about that. How do you think this proposed development will impact the amount of traffic that's there? Will it be safe means of egress and egress onto the property with these businesses?
Right. Yes, we do have a turn lane off of Cliffdale Road into the front of the project there. That would be a right in, right out only because there is a concrete median in the center of Cliffdale Road there. So that would limit traffic, coming out of the project to just the right out only. We do have the entrance onto Prestige Boulevard, and the slide that Craig showed you did show a cut across the median there, but that was we remove that in one of the TRC meetings. So you'd have to turn right out of the development onto Prestige Boulevard, and if you wanted to go back into the neighborhood, you'd have to come out to the light and do a U-turn and go around back into the neighborhood. So that limits traffic in that direction as well. So I think we've done everything to satisfy the city traffic folks and the DOT traffic folks, that we've minimized the impact of the traffic.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. This question probably be for you, sir, and also Mr. Harmon. That is a nice improvement to that wooded area. I mean, for years, the Montebello neighborhood, they go out, try to clean it up. There's a path through it. There were some problems in those woods sometimes. But the part that concerns me is the medium on Prestige Boulevard where you have a left turn in, right turn out. Sometimes, and I was on that road this morning, sometimes when people coming into Prestige, they come in pretty quick, whether they're turning right as they're heading west, or if they're turning left as they're city bound. They make that, it's not a protected left turn, so people fly through there. And then you put that cut through, maybe 10 car lengths up, and there could be a rear end accident because it's not a long distance, but that entire medium runs just about 500 feet to the intersection of Trevor Lane. I typically come out of my neighborhood, take a right, because I can't get out on Cliffdale Road, so I turn right into this Prestige Boulevard. I go to the end of the entrance medium and at Trevor Lane and do a U-turn. And so, in the community watch, they spent a lot of money resodding that whole thing. They planted trees. They have water lines out there. They also have people come out and cut it. Mr. Harmon, I think it would be safer if you didn't have that left in and right out, but you actually made people turning onto Prestige go all the way up to Trevor and do a U-turn like I do 2 or 3 times a week trying to get out of my neighborhood on Cliffdale. And that would save the developer some money. It would increase the safety of that left in and right out. You wouldn't damage the neighborhood, all the years of efforts they put into that medium. It's one of the best neighborhood entrance mediums that you'll see in Western Fayetteville. Would you have an objection of removing that?
No, actually, I mentioned earlier that during the TRC meeting, they asked us to remove it. So it has been removed from the site plan now. The one that Craig showed you on the slide did show it, but it has been removed already. The city traffic folks in the TRC asked that we remove it. So now you would come right out of the development onto Prestige Boulevard, and if you wanted to go into the neighborhood, you'd come out to the light and do a U-turn and go all the way around.
That's even worse. You would, people that live there, they're gonna come out, take a right, they're gonna go up to Rim Road, get right back into the neighborhood. Doing a U-turn there at Cliffdale and Prestige, I mean, we've had deaths, at that intersection for accidents.
Well, I mean, that was the reason we had thought that the cut-through was a good idea, that people coming out of the development could turn left and go into the neighborhood. But the city traffic folks did not want that. The DOT didn't get involved in that part of it, but the city traffic folks wanted us to remove it, so we have removed it.
All right, Councilmember Wright?
Yes, sir, I have a question. That intersection, Prestige Boulevard right there on the corner, going into the neighborhood on each side, Cliffdale Road is a very busy road. Did DOT look at considering a light there? I know you have a light there on Rim Road. there is a light, is there a light there?
Yeah, there is a light at
There's
Prestige Boulevard.
a four-way traffic light there, okay. I didn't see it from here, okay, that was my concern, allowing traffic to get out and flowing freely
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Now, my next question would be, how many residents are you looking at housing there in that location?
I don't know the answer to that. Craig may be able to address that, but I don't know the answer to the number of lots or residents in Montebello. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not asking that. The type of facilities that you would be putting there would be what type of business?
Typical, probably mostly local tenants, retail, could be, shop apparel, could be small restaurants, could be some business. The building that faces Prestige Boulevard behind the other two more than likely would be more business type uses than retail, since it's, removed from the frontage of Cliffdale Road. So sort of a mixture, typical strip center type uses you see.
So by not having that medium split in half and you having to go right and coming around, that's more a safety factor because there's a light there anyway. So it's just a small inconvenience, but it's doable.
That was the point of the city traffic folks, was they felt like it was doable to go down to the light and make a U-turn to get back into the neighborhood rather than coming straight across that median. One other point I'll make about the turn lane, you probably can't tell from the site plan, but basically it's a full lane from the intersection of Prestige and Cliffdale all the way down to the entrance into the project. So we're adding a full lane all the way from the intersection to our entrance.
Yeah, that makes a big difference there. Thank you, sir.
All right. Councilmember Jensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I'm sitting here looking at this, I think what I'm hearing is everybody is okay with the land, but it is the traffic, the way it's going in. And I guess the thing that concerns me is what we were brought in our packet that Mayor Pro Tem said, well, I would kind of agree to it if it could be done this, this, and this. And it said, and your words were, well, it is that way, it just doesn't show it on your packet. And I don't know if I misheard that, but kind of what we're looking at isn't what was approved. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, the most recent site plan, and I've got one here in front of me, but I have only one copy. We removed that cut through in the median because at the last TRC meeting, the city traffic folks asked us to do that. I'm not sure I understand Mr. Moon's question. Were you saying you preferred it or didn't prefer it? Wasn't
No,
sure.
looking at my agenda packet, I would agree that cut through, on Prestige should be removed.
Okay, and it has.
But that's not in our packet.
Right,
And so,
I
Mr.
understand.
Harmon, can we confirm at the TRC that that cut through on Prestige is not in the current approved plan?
Well, it hasn't gone completely through TRC, so they don't have an approved plan at this point. But that was one of the last suggestions of our traffic engineers. And if you wanted to put that as a condition of approval, you could do that as well to make sure that, it doesn't creep back in somehow.
Okay, but my point is, if Mayor Pro Tem Moon did not say anything, what is in our packet is not what I'm hearing that was going to happen, and I might have misunderstood. So I think we've got a drop somewhere along that. So with that being said, I feel that we are talking about a neighborhood here, and from me and my district being out on Ramsey Street and understanding traffic probably more than 90% of the people sitting up here and medians and things like that, this is not something that I am prepared to make a decision on going in and out of a neighborhood that we're kind of piecemealing it together. And when I say piecemealing it, the people involved, I feel, need to sit down at the table, and there's options that we can do, but it has to be the best traffic flow for Cliffdale Road because it is a busy area. and what is the best turn-in, because I know when Ramsey Street was done, there was quite a few things that needed to be changed, and it was people doing it with a pencil and paper. So that's all that I have to say.
Thank you, Councilmember Jensen. Councilmember Art?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Rose, thank you for your presentation. Where Prestige Road comes out and intersects Cliffdale, there's a traffic light. You confirmed that. Is there a left turn lane there, a left turn light?
Yes.
So you get a left turn green light, which will allow you to make the U-turn. The only other light that may be activated would be the right turn into the neighborhood. So somebody has to yield there, and that's a common practice at traffic intersections in the city. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And then as far as traffic on Cliffdale Road, you've got a traffic light there that's timed by DOT. So coming into your development, as you come through the traffic light, you would have a right turn lane where people could pull off to the right so they don't impede traffic to allow them to turn in. There's no ability to come out at that intersection or that ingress route and turn left back towards the traffic light. Is that an accurate statement?
That's correct, because there's a concrete median in Cliffdale Road.
So you can't cross the road, which has been a big issue on our roads here.
It's a right out only coming out of the development onto Cliffdale Road.
So they got to go back up towards Rim Road and do a U-turn if they want to go the other way back on Cliffdale Road.
Yes.
One of the things, you took out the cut through on Prestige Boulevard where it's a divided road there. You're planning to do that at the request of the TRC.
Right. I mean, after that meeting, the site plan has been changed. The developer's in agreement with it. The site plan would not be approved by the city if we showed the cut. So they've said that they would not approve the cut through.
But that doesn't hinder your development of the site.
No, I mean, again, I felt like it would be good to allow people to turn left there and not have to go make a U-turn at the intersection for that movement you just mentioned. But it's not a big deal to the developer, and if the city traffic folks feel like that's the best solution there, then we're certainly in agreement with that. And we've made the change. We're prepared to submit.
And you would be acceptable if that was a condition of the approval of the special use permit?
Sure, yeah, we're preparing for that eventuality already, so yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Rose.
okay, thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Art. Councilman Chris?
It's simple. If you're sitting at Prestige and you want to come out and make a left to go east on Cliffdale, you can do that. The light says you can do that. Or you can make a U-turn and go back down Prestige. The other aspect is, with regards to the median, that not on the latest site plan yet or hadn't been approved by the TRC, very simply, we can caveat the motion and insist that that median not be separated. It's simple. Let's get on. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sergeant Major. With that being said, I'll go to Mayor Pro Tem. Oh, well, I need to close the public hearing. This time we'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Rose. All right, council, I'll look to you for motion. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. In our agenda packet, option 1 is to approve the special use permit in the neighborhood commercial district as presented by staff based on the standards of the city's development code and the evidence provided during this hearing. And it's also that it meets the 8 findings of fact that are listed in our agenda packet. And as an additional council condition, that the cut through on the medium on Prestige not be allowed as recommended by the TRC.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
All right, there's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem to approve the special use permit with the conditions after the 8 findings of fact, and there was a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion on the motion? All right, council, I'll look to you for your votes. Mr. Dawkins?
He said green. I think he's turned down. No, he's here.
He said green?
Mr. Dawkins, can you repeat your vote? He said green, I heard.
All right, well, we've got 9 and a possible green, so we'll go with that. So as is unanimous, Madam Clerk, Mr. Dawkins and his whisper of green. All right, so council, with that, entertain a motion to adjourn? Oh, we got another? Oh,
Kiefer, annual.
oh, how do we forget about the money? All right, Mr. CFO, you didn't get off the hook that easy.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I'd like to introduce Mr. Robbie Bittner. He's Senior Manager for RSM. He'll have our report on our fiscal year-end 2018 audit.
Thank you, Jack. Mr. Mayor, council, just so you know, I did present this same presentation in depth to the audit committee last week, so I'm going to do an abbreviated version this morning, but please feel free at any time to stop me and ask any questions you may have. So, first off, I'd like to say thank you for allowing us to continue to serve the city. This is our second year that we perform the audit, so I just want to quickly go through the financial results. So, in your CAFR, or Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which is the nice big item that I'm sure you'll find exhilarating to read, there's 7 major sections in there. You have your management's discussion and analysis, which is kind of more of your comparatives, government-wide financial statements, which are your full accrual statements, fund financial statements, those are the more operational statements, more based on your budget, notes to those financial statements, which sort of help explain what's going on in those financial numbers, your required supplemental financial data, which is required by government auditing standards, or government accounting standards, excuse me. We have other supplemental information, which is more budget to actuals on some of your non-major funds. And then there is a compliance section with your compliance with not only laws and regulations, but also the uniform guidance for federal grants and the State Single Audit Act for state grants. We can issue 4 types of opinions. Fortunately, I'm going to just mention the most important one, which is the unmodified opinion or clean opinion, which is the highest level assurance that we can provide, and the city did receive a clean opinion this year. This particular slide would just kind of show your general fund revenues. As you can see, as you probably well know, that your 2 biggest pieces of revenue come from your ad valorem taxes, and then your other unrestricted intergovernmental revenue, which is primarily sales tax. This year, just sort of a quick overview to show you that the taxes per se from a ad valorem have sort of stayed stable. Your biggest increases have come in your sales taxes, so it shows that there is some growth. Overall tax rate compared to similar sized cities in the state of North Carolina, you're right in line with everyone else, a little bit higher than statewide, but statewide has a lot of different areas that could be involved there. However, your current year property tax collected, a little bit less than it has been over the past couple of years. However, you're still much higher than the state average and the average for cities of your size within the state. Where do your funds go to? So general fund expenditures, the biggest expenditure is public safety, followed by admin. Public safety, obviously, primarily your police, and then fire and rescue. Expenditure growth, it's been fairly stable for the past 5 years, so nothing there that really kind of jumps out at you. And total general fund balance, steady increase. This is pretty consistent with sound financial results. So this is your fund balances from a fund balance classification. There's 4 classifications. There's non-spendable, which are items that are prepaid, such as prepaid rent or inventory items. There's restricted, which the biggest portion of that is restricted by state statute, which actually in that restricted by state statute, a very large portion of that is there are some unspent bond proceeds that were removed this year compared to previous years because the debt is on the books related to it. But also the other portions of that is just to make sure that you don't overexpend your budget compared to what's already outstanding. Other items are committed. Those are items such as that have been committed by the board themselves, not by a third party, which would be a restriction. Assigned usually comes from your management, your city manager, the finance officer, in your general operations, things that are more like encumbered for the year. And then your unassigned shows your balance that you're able to spend at this point freely as you see fit. Overall fund balance as a percentage of general net expenditures, a little lower than similar size and state average. All that really means is that you're relying on your operations are relying on your current year collections, not on your previous collections. So it shows that you're spending your money as you should be. There are limits to how low that can get. However, you're not even close to what the state would consider a problem in that situation. Compliance results, not only do we report under generally accepted auditing standards, but there's government auditing standards, which are also called the Yellow Book, the Uniform Guidance for federal grants, and then the State Single Audit Implementation Act for state grants. Our major programs, we had 3 federal and 3 state this year. Mostly related, we had the Home Investment Partnership Program, which is related to a loan program for low-income folks, airport improvement for your airport construction project, the federal transit clusters, your operations related to your bus system, and then you also have your state programs, PAL bill, which is non-state street aid that's provided by the state, and then the SMAP program, which is a state maintenance program that allows you to match certain federal grants with those state dollars, and then the Golden Leaf Foundation, which is a new grant that you guys had this year. There are 3 types of deficiencies when it comes to internal control deficiencies that we have to present. There's material weakness, which is a deficiency in internal control that says that either a material weakness has occurred or could occur in your financial statements. There's a significant deficiency, which is not as severe as a material weakness, but is still required to be reported to those charged with governance in accordance with government auditing standards. And then there is just what's considered a control deficiency, which does not rise to the level of significant deficiency and does not actually make it into your CAFR report here. So this year we had 1 material weakness related to the PWC. The reason we report PWC with the city is they are a discretely presented component unit, but also we do a joint single audit with, from our procedures with the PWC. So there is 1 single audit report for both entities. So there was 1 material weakness there, 2 significant deficiencies, 1 at PWC, and then 1 that was actually related to the city of Fayetteville. There's a couple of slides in here that if you look, these are also reported in your compliance section of the CAFR. The first one is related to work orders at the PWC, which is a repeat finding from last year. The second one is related to IT functionality and the reporting, getting sufficient reporting out of their IT system to allow timely reconciliations and timely review of what they need. And then the last piece, the 1 significant deficiency at the city was related to census information provided to the actuary for the implementation of GASB Statement Number 75, which required that the city bring on the full liability for their other post-employment benefits as of the beginning of the year, and then also showing that activity through the end of the year. The last few items that we'll go over fairly quickly. We're required to, under generally accepted auditing standards, that we have to present certain information to you, which most of which I've already presented to you tonight or through the audit committee. That just shows sort of our responsibilities, our plan, scope, and timing of the audit of what it was, the major accounting policies or changes that happened throughout the year. As I mentioned, GASB 75 was the only major change that happened in this current year. That we had no audit adjustments. We did have 1 uncorrected misstatement, which is presented to you in your separate letter that you should have. I believe Jay they should have it at this point. We did not have any disagreements with management this year. We didn't have any significant issues that arose from the audit that we had to discuss with management. And you will separately see in that letter that you have the representation letter provided to us from management, as well as the management letter that we provided to management on these minor control deficiencies that did not meet the level of reporting in the CAFR. So with that, if you have any questions,
I did have a couple for you.
certainly.
You had percentages of expenditures in that pie chart for administrative. I know public safety is usually probably your biggest that you see amongst other cities comparable to us. How about administrative? Is that in line or any of the other?
Administration usually runs anywhere between 15 and 25%. The smaller cities, actually, that percentage can be a little bit larger because there's just so much you can do. But you guys are in line for similar sized cities.
Okay, is our public safety figure in line?
It's a little higher, but it's not out of line. I mean, when I say it's a little higher, most time it runs between 45 and 51, 52%. So.
Okay. And the last question I have, explain to me the fund balance percentage comparable to general fund net expenditure chart.
Okay, certainly. So basically this means what do you have in reserve in your fund balance compared to how much dollars you expend each year. The higher percentage of that means the higher the money that you are holding back each year to be spent. So for example, if you had 100% here, then you would need to collect no money, no tax money in the next given year to operate your general fund as it had been operating. So as that percentage goes down, it shows that you, at the money that you're taking in, you're putting back into and spending into your community. So every government has a little bit different. Some have their own fund balance policies that they need to have out there for contingency, that sort of thing. That you see that some of them are a little bit higher, but by going lower doesn't necessarily mean that that's a problem. It just means that you're prudently spending the money as it should be this year versus holding on to it, waiting to spend it in future years.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Wright.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to make the motion that we receive this audit financial results for the year 2018.
Yes, sir. There's a motion by Councilmember Wright to receive the report. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Chris. Any discussion on the motion? All right, Council, I'll look to you.
Mr. Mayor, I want to thank, if I may, as a part of this motion, show some appreciation to RSM for a report that is clearly in-depth, that answers all of our questions, and a shout out to our staff that has done a magnificent job. I'm pointing at you, Tracy, and others, Dr. Whitfield.
Money team.
That have done a magnificent job, and Jay Tolan, where? Raise your hand, Jay. Okay, I can't see you over there. But I just want to say that I am very, very pleased with what's going on with the financial management of this city, because I was going to use this as a hammer for the city manager, but I guess I can't use it. Thank you so much, staff, and thank you, RSM Robert. Thank you so much for great work.
And the audit committee.
Yes.
Needs to be thanked.
Yes.
Absolutely.
For the city
Elizabeth, you sitting over there and pointing at you. I know I'm not supposed to point, I point with my fist. But thank you all so much for all that you're doing and getting it straight. Thank you, sir.
All right, now these votes on the screen, y'all? Or did y'all have
We have to
questions?
vote to
All right.
accept this.
All right, look to you for votes.
Vote to accept it.
Councilmember Dawkins? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous with those present and a questionable whisper over here. All right, that is the last item, right?
Yes, sir.
Motion to adjourn.